Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Patreon podcast. This week I wanted to talk about commitments and obligations, and I'm pretty sure that I've talked about this in the past, but it's something that I really want to dive into again because I have been confronted with it again, and usually these episodes are just me talking about what's on my mind anyway. So lately I've kind of dogpiled myself with a lot of personal commitments or obligations. Obviously, I have the 2-hour track challenge, and I have these episodes to record, which really are like the hard and fast, like ones that I'm always going to try to keep. These are the most important ones. And obviously, I'm also just talking about creative commitments, not like drinking water and eating and like paying your bills. So like these two things are the most important ones, but lately I've been talking about like the Pandemonium fixes, the Plunge game, the Quiet Spaces album, the Let the World Forget Us album. These are all also commitments and obligations that I have made to myself. And I have been feeling very overwhelmed with these kinds of things. And each of those things that I listed are a different type of commitment, really. The Plunge game is a commitment or an obligation that I gave to myself because I wanted to make a game every quarter this year. I wanted to participate in the OST Jam 4 times and make 4 small games, and that is a commitment to myself that I want to keep. The Quiet Spaces album isn't technically a necessity for me to do, but it's something that I really enjoy doing every year because I really want to thank my Patreon supporters, you lovely people, for your help and your contributions and just your general good vibes for keeping me going. So those are both personal obligations that I'm choosing to keep. But when it comes to the Pandemonium soundtrack or the Pandemonium game or Let the World Forget Us, those are obligations that I feel like I need to keep. They're still personal obligations, but people have paid money for like a version of it that is not entirely done. And I think that I kind of made a mistake on that regard where posting Pandemonium too early because I was just kind of done with it at the time. And same with the Let the World Forget Us. Like I just needed to get something out there. So I just posted it. And, I tend to put a couple bucks on there just because that's how I like to sell my things. Like I sell them cheap, but I shouldn't sell them half baked. So people have invested money, not a lot of people. Like I think like Pandemonium people have given me like $20 for. So it's like, not a lot, but it's a game that's out there and it's a game that people paid for and that are playing. And I have the obligation to fix it, like period. Like I don't want to abandon a project like that. And the same thing with Let the World Forget Us. People have paid money for it. And honestly, I just really like the concept of the album. I just haven't been in the right mind space for it. So I need to finish it. That is something on my need to finish list. But both of these obligations are just, they're overwhelming. And partially because I've had so many other things going on in my life, I haven't really been able to get back to it. Now, moving on from that, there are professional obligations, like your day job, if you have one, and other commissioned projects. I have some possible jobs coming up that are commissioned, and those are obligations that obviously you can't really you can back out of, but you can't just like drop. You can't just be like, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore and just leave. So that's another kind of like facet to this where you don't want to just pick up a ton of obligations and then realize you can't carry them all, because that's how you get burnout, and that's how a lot of just kind of crummy things happen. It's my experience from like 2016 where I overcommitted myself to a lot of stuff. It's easy to do that, but it's also something that you really don't want to get involved in if you can help it. So to break this down, you have your personal obligations and your professional obligations, and some of them you can keep, some of them you can drop on both sides. But really with the professional obligations, you have to have a stronger reason to do so because other people's time and money are on the line there. And it's just really hard for me to kind of like break this stuff down on a personal level. Like I'm just trying to find what works for me, and like just trying to make sure that I am completing the things that I want to complete. And this kind of goes, it doesn't really go into, I was going to talk about like YouTube algorithms and stuff in the next episode, but I think that it doesn't really tie into this. I think that's it though. Like I just wanted to kind of break this down a little bit more because it's so easy to feel overwhelmed. But if you put these kind of tags on your projects, and it's possible for you to find like maybe some things are things that you can put off to the side for a while because it's like a personal obligation that doesn't really have any stakes. And some things, it helps you prioritize the tasks that you need to do. And I talked in a prior episode about taking small bites about things. And this is one of the ways that I have been approaching these projects and trying to find ways to kind of just take small chunks out of these projects one day at a time, and eventually I'll get through them. Like I'm trying to finish up Plunge this weekend. I don't know if I'll do it, but it would be nice to finish it up. And then I'm on to fixing Pandemonium, and then I'm on to finishing up Let the World Forget Us, and then I'm finally done with Obligations. And by then, it's possible that some of the contract stuff that I signed up for might start coming through, which I'm excited about, honestly. I'm looking forward to talking about that more once it starts crystallizing. Yeah, I think that's it. Like, as always, like if you have questions about this or if it's just me rambling and I don't really make any sense, I'm happy to field any comments. So feel free to ask if you have any. But I'm trying also to start creating a backlog for the podcast again, because that was very, very important for me. So I don't have to like scramble at the last minute for putting episodes together. So anyway, that's it for me. Thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter. I really genuinely do appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening. I hope that you have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend, and I love you all, and I will talk to you in the next one. Be remarkable.